Hello dear students, today we are going to deal with grammar topic, present tenses, state and action verbs. What is the meaning? The present simple is used to talk about permanent situation. For example, she doesn't speak English. Also, present simple is used to talk about things that happen repeatedly. I go to school every day. Also, it's used to ask for and to give information. How do I get to the bathroom, for example? It is also used in narrative, or in other words, to tell stories. For example, at the start of the film, a big spaceship comes to Earth and lands in LA. Then the aliens eat all the people. Another use of present simple is to talk about fixed arrangements in the future. The meeting starts at 10 a.m. The train leaves at 7:32 p.m. And it is also used in certain introductory expressions. For example, I hear you went on holiday to Spain this summer. You know that in present simple there are some rules about forming the third person singular. Today we are going to stop at the spelling of the third person singular rules. In the third person singular, most verbs take just S. For example, play, plays, sleep, sleeps. Verbs which end in consonant plus Y drop Y or change it to I and take ES as an ending. For example, hurry, hurries, reply, replies. Verbs which end in S, Z, CH, SH or X add ES in the third person singular. In this group we have some exceptions. For example, verbs do and go end in O. They also add in the third person singular the ending ES. And also we have the verb to have that has an irregular form in the third person singular, that is has. What about the pronunciation of the third person singular? It depends on the last phoneme of the verbs. If the last phoneme of the verb is a vowel or a diphthong in the list, we don't add a syllable and the ending is pronounced Z. For example, goes, runs. If the last phoneme of the verb is p, t, k, f, or th, we do not add a syllable and the ending is pronounced s. For example, hopes or pets. And if the last phoneme of the verb is one of the list here, we add a syllable, pronouncing the ending is this time. Catches, snoozes. Be careful with the pronunciation, please. Now, what is the meaning of present continuous? Present continuous is used to talk about something is happening at the time of speaking and the action is still in progress or is continuing. That's why it's called continuous. For example, he is speaking to John. Another use of present continuous is to talk about temporary situations. For example, I'm living in London at the moment. Changing situations are also expressed with present continuous, such as the example, you're getting taller and taller every day. Around the time of speaking is another use of the present continuous. I'm seeing Jane a lot these days. The expression here is these days that refers to the time around the time of speaking now. Also, we use present continuous to talk about future arrangements, mostly fixed ones. Here we have the example, I'm meeting my father at the airport at 5 o'clock tomorrow. And to express irritation or annoyance about someone else's behavior or actions, we use it with the frequency adverb always. She is always complaining about how difficult her life is. Be careful because this is an exception. But how to form present continuous? We form the present continuous with the auxiliary verb be and the present participle form of the verb. The present participle of the verb is always ending in ing, and to make this particle we normally add the ending at the end of the base form of the verb, but at the same time we have some exceptions. For example, most verbs ending with consonant plus e take off the e. For example, here we have hoping. Most verbs ending in consonant plus vowel plus consonant, so a vowel between two consonants, often double the last consonant. Swimming, running, another verb. Most verbs that have a vowel between two consonants where the last consonant is w, x or y, don't double the last consonant. For example, blowing we have here. Another example or exception is verbs ending in ie. They change this ending to y, and we have the examples here. Lying, that is the present participle of the verb to lie, and dying, that is the present participle of the verb to die. And the last one, verbs ending in c add k when they form the present participle. Here we have the verb panicking. Here we have an overview or a summary chart for present simple and present continuous tenses. Let's see them. Present simple refers to things which are always true, while present continuous refers to things which are happening at the time of speaking. Present simple deals with permanent situations and present continuous with the temporary ones. Habits or things we do regularly are expressed with present simple, but new habits or temporary ones are expressed with present continuous. Present simple refers to future events which are parts of timetable, while present continuous refers to definite future plans, more specific ones. And present continuous is used to talk about books, plays and films, so in narratives, while we use present continuous to talk about people in pictures and photos that are more specific cases. Let's see now stative and action verbs. What are stative verbs? These kind of verbs describe rather a state than an action. Therefore, their name is stative. A characteristic of these verbs is that they are not normally used in the present continuous form. For example, I don't know the answer. We cannot say I'm not knowing the answer. Which are some of the meanings or some of the most typical stative verbs? These kind of verbs often relate to thoughts and opinions. And the list of verbs here are all stative verbs. Feelings and emotions, like, love, hate, dislike, prefer, etc. Senses and perceptions, so all the verbs of senses are stative verbs. What does it mean? It means that in their first meaning, they are not used in the continuous form. A number of verbs we say can refer to states or actions depending on the context, is what we said above. Let's see the examples. I think it's a good idea. Here is a stative verbs that about thoughts or opinions. And the second example is, wait a moment, I'm thinking. Here, thinking is an action. Let's see another verb, the verb to have. I have an old car that is my possession, it's a state. And I'm having a quick break means that I'm having a quick break is an action here. See and be are also two other verbs in which one can be an action or a state, depending on the context. Let's see now what are action verbs. An action verb, normally, from the name we see that is a verb that describes an action, like jump, kick, breathe, break, think, etc. When using action verbs, the sentence structure is subject, might be a noun or pronoun, the action verb, and then the rest of the sentence, always including an object and the rest. Here are some examples I chose for you of action verbs in sentences. Greg is kicking the ball now. Here, the action verb is kicking and means or describes what Greg is doing. The second example, the wind blows constantly in Chicago. Here, the action verb is blows and it describes what the wind does. Let's see now. Choose the correct tense. What might be the correct answer in the first sentence? I write a letter now, I am writing, or the third alternative, I am writing. Be careful. Even the spelling mistakes can confuse you in choosing the right alternative. From what we said above, we can say that the right alternative is I am writing a letter now because it describes an action happening now at the moment that we are speaking, and it is described with a present continuous. The bus sometimes is arriving, arrive, or arrives. From the grammar rules, we see that it is arrives dealing with future timetable events. The second request. Complete the sentences with the verbs in brackets. This week, let's focus on this part of the sentence, is a period of time around the time of speaking. So we remember that the verb here must be in present continuous and is we are staying at a hotel this week. I to bed early on Sundays. It's a habit of mine. So it is expressed with the present simple and the answer is I go to bed early on Sundays. The third exercise. Read answers and complete questions. What time every day? The answer is I start work at 7 every day. It's a habit. It's something that happens regularly. So the question might be, what time do you start work every day? And the second example, what at the moment? That has the answer. Well, I'm not doing anything at the moment. What might be the right choice? What are you doing at the moment to get the right answer we have here? Thank you very much for your attention.